what I was really excited to teach this lesson in class because I think that this chapter and this lesson specifically would have been really fun to talk about in class, but that's okay. I still think that we can have some good discussions about the chapter this way. So we've been talking about how the author, Codell, has really like changed her tone throughout the text, right? So this is in pretty direct opposition. This chapter was very different from the last chapter that we read. How was the mood different? Go ahead, Nashla.
It's the mood is different because I feel like it's more positive than the other chapters because it's talking about like love and how like she like these different types of people in her.
Right. And I think that in this chapter, similar to the other chapters, but in this chapter, the Codell does a really good job of bringing in her fifth grade voice and her voice today, right? So she's reflecting on these stories, her love stories, as an adult, but also thinking about it as a fifth grader. So who do you think that Codell's or the author's target audience is? Who do you think that she's writing to? Jada, go ahead.
I think she's basically talking to her fifth grade crush. So if he probably reading this, he could know what he did wrong.
Okay. I'm seeing some people disagreeing. Sawa, go ahead.
I respectfully disagree with you, and I think that the author is talking to the reader because
okay. And who do you think that the reader who do you think she wants the reader to be, Sawa?
she wants the reader to be she wants the reader to be her adult self.
Let's see. I'm seeing some other hands. Some people disagreeing. Haja.
Like what she posts.
Two things. First, I respectfully disagree with Sawa, and I think that she's talking to like someone who like wants to like if someone reads this, if they're having like some problems with love, then they could like read this text. And also, second of all, I forgot to remind you that you have to record.
Thank you. I did forget, and then I remembered. But thank you. Daniel, last thought, and then we're gonna move on.
Okay, so I agree with you, Haja, and I would say that the people that she would be writing to are probably like fifth graders, because if this is like a memoir about like her fifth grade, about her life in fifth grade, then probably this would be directed toward fifth graders.
Amazing. Yes, I'm making up Zoom points. So Daniel Mensa, I'm giving you 5 Zoom points. Exactly. Like she's writing to people who are, she's likely, obviously I'm reading this text too, but she's writing to people who are your age. Like she's writing to fifth graders who might be going, just like Haja said, who might be going through very similar things. Because she starts off the chapter by saying, this is what I knew about love when I was your age. So as if she's speaking to you all. So today we are going to be, are you ready? We're going to be thinking about the author's experience with love in fifth grade, and we're going to be comparing it to your own experiences with love in fifth grade. Love could also be like friendship, and then we'll talk about the differences maybe that I would have the ideas I had about love in fifth grade versus now. So I'm going to share my screen because I recognize that some of us might not have the text. If you do have the text, you can go ahead and meet me on page 99. If you don't have the text, then your eyes are right here on page 99. We're there in 10. I'm checking to make sure either eyes are on your text or your eyes are on your screen. Awesome. Great. I'm starting at I knew. I knew from watching Mickey Rooney in Young Tom Edison on Channel 9 Morning Movie that when there is a scientific question, the only way to find the answer is by testing and observation. So I decided to test my hypothesis. Eric Fosnot was a new boy who had just transferred into my class. He was taller than the other boys and tripped over things when he walked. He had brown hair that was so long and soft that he had to keep tossing it out of his brown eyes. And sometimes when he was working, he would blow his bangs out of the way. He was so handsome that I thought if he were crossing the street and a car was coming and he was about to be struck, I just might have to throw myself in front of it to push him out of the way. And when he would lift my battered body in his arms, he would say, "Oh, Esme, my brave, brave Esme, how could you do that for me?" And the heavens would grant me just enough breath to reply, "Don't mention it, Eric. It's not that big of a deal." And through his tears, he would choke, "But I love you, Esme, my darling. Haunt me. But be with me always. Take any form. Drive me mad." But could I hear him? No. It would be too late. My life would have already been sacrificed. A pittance to pay to preserve this angel on earth. Just as a matter of science, I mention it. Okay, so from reading these thoughts about Esme, it's obviously pretty dramatic, but what can we infer about Esme's knowledge of love and relationships at this point when she's writing this? What does she think about love? I'm seeing similar hands. Nazifa, go ahead.
I think what Esme is thinking about love is that it can be dramatic sometimes because when she was explaining that quote, it was feeling like she was very dramatic, and but now like then she like put a self reflection in, like it probably wouldn't be like that, and I think that in that age she was thinking it was very dramatic.
Great. I'm gonna have Abdul Haq follow up. Go ahead, Abdul Haq. Abdul Haq, is it possible for you to get the background off of your phone? I can't see you.
What background?
Whatever, whatever background that you have. Can you take it off?
How?
Do you know how? I don't know. I don't know how. We think we need to do that in our own. I don't know if I can do it on my end. But go ahead. Follow up with what Nazifa said.
I think she thinks that love is liking somebody.
What do you mean by that?
Because she's always thinking about this guy and she loves him.
Mm-hmm.
She
So
has
is she
feeling.
is she correct about her like view of love? Like I don't like, yeah, she thinks that it's because she maybe likes him instead of loves him. So what does she think about love? Mensa, go ahead.
Okay, so what she thinks about love is, if I remember what she watches from the movies, because like the different scenes that she's watching from those specific movies, because one movie was about where their love, two people's loves were so strong that one would call from like very far away and then the other could like hear it, and like different movie scenes about stuff.
Right, exactly. Great. We're going, she doesn't also at this point in time, she doesn't seem like she really understands, that she's kind of confused and doesn't really understand love. She thinks this is how it's supposed to be. I'm going to give my Zoom points to Salwa. Salwa, I'm so impressed by you. Look at you. And you've been shouted out by a bunch of teachers. I'm getting a bunch of chats from Ms. Paz and Mr. Lee saying that they're like really impressed with how intensive you are. We are going to go ahead and continue reading from I Went Out. So we are at I Went Out. If you have the text, please go ahead and make sure it's in front of you. If you don't, your eyes are on my text. We're on page 100. I'll zoom in a little bit. I went out. I went out on my front porch after my parents were asleep. I licked my finger and raised it in the air to determine the direction of the wind. I closed my eyes and mustered all the love power I possibly could and waited for a good strong breeze before whispering, I love you, Eric Fosnot. Had it worked? Had I said it loudly enough? Had I said it in the right direction? Surely it must have reached him. He couldn't live that far away. We went to the same school after all. I tried again. I love you, Eric Fosnot, I cried out more bravely. From Esme, I added for good measure. And then waited another eternity. Wait, what was that? Was that, my darling, be with me always, take any form, drive me mad? No, it was a cat jumping on a trash lid. It was a front door opening and closing. It was the hum of the news in a neighbor's apartment. I waited on the porch for about 45 minutes, shivering in my pajamas, with my arms crossed, and received no reply. What a cruel boy, I thought. What a cruel, inconsiderate boy. When I went to school the next day, Eric Fosnot went about his business, tripping over things and blowing his hair as if nothing had happened. Every small movement seemed heartless and cold. He didn't even look at me. Not that he had ever looked at me, but now it was so clearly deliberate. After all that had passed between us, by the end of the day, I was so mad at Eric, I couldn't stand the sight of him. He had absolutely wuthered my heights. The next night, I went onto the porch. Eric Fosnot, you stinkball, I hope you're happy. I was glad when he transferred out. Okay. So, again, what does this passage reveal about the narrator or Codel's understanding of love? What does she think about love? Salwa, go ahead.
She thinks that love is that love, like what Nasifa said before, love is very dramatic, and so she also feels like that there's this character, she loved him, and so but then when she said that, she did something very unnecessary. She went on her porch and started screaming that she loved him, and so when he didn't reply, she got really angry. And after that, she was happy that he transferred out. So the author thinks that love is very dramatic.
Yeah. Go ahead, Anthony.
Also, the speaker thinks that love is unfair and not like, for me, it's not for her it's like untrustworthy, and like because like she loved the boy, and the boy didn't like her, so she's like, oh, and she did all these things just for the boy, and the boy didn't respond.
Yeah, and well, and like, why was it silly? Why was it silly that she got so mad at him? Why was she being like unreasonable, Giselle?
I feel like it was unreasonable because and it was like unnecessary because if she said it too loud, then it would mean that everyone heard her, and she wanted to direct it through Eric, not for everyone to hear. And then it was like she didn't really need to do it because it didn't work, and he didn't even talk to her or look at her. So she just got so fed up of it.
Great. So Mensa already kind of brought this up, but can somebody else, before we move on to our discussion prompts, can somebody remind me, if you've read it, what was Esme's experience with the other boy, Jose? Ryan, go ahead.
I forgot.
Okay, somebody, I'm gonna come back to you, so make sure that you're paying attention. Ethan?
I think what happened with Jose was that Esme saw Jose with a different girl, and then she got really upset. I think
Okay. Nashla?
I think that her relationship was stronger with Jose because I remember that she said that whenever someone wanted to go on the swing, he would always let them go.
Okay. Well, and then what happened, Daniel Mensa?
Then Kristen, the British girl, she when she knew that Esme liked Jose, she decides to go up to Jose and use like her like different ways and like what she knows.
Okay. Yeah, so it's like she's like, okay, Kirsten is like, I'm gonna teach you how to get Jose to like you, and then she ends up stealing Jose away. So Ryan, what happens with Jose?
Well, Jose, well, first, Esme likes Jose, and then, Kristen wanted to tell Esme how to be better friends with Jose. Kristen decides, to steal Jose from Esme and decide to talk with him when she knows that Esme liked Jose.
Okay, great. So wonderful. So we're going to move on to some discussion prompts. These are going to be a little bit tricky since we don't all have, we can't talk to one another, but we're just going to spend some time thinking things through and writing things down if that's available to us. So we discussed earlier how Codel's intended audience is 5th graders. So when she wrote her direct address at the beginning of this chapter, she started it off saying like, when I was your age, this is what I thought about love. So I want us to think about how Esme's experiences and the way that she feels about love in this story compares to the way that we think about love and maybe our experiences with love through discussion prompt number 1. So I want you to think about how does Esme's understanding and experiences with love compare to those of your own? So, I want you to take 3 minutes to either jot down or to think about how your experiences might be similar or different, and then we'll discuss. I might give you a little less time than that. I'm gonna give my Zoom points. Oh, Daniel Mensa always kills it in reading. He's always my saving grace. Jasmine's killing it. I see that Justin's pencil is to paper, so is Jada's. I'm gonna see if I can do about one of these. Yeah. About 1 more minute to keep thinking. Once again, if you're laying down, please make sure that you sit back up. Ooh, Melvin with his hands folded. Okay. Melvin, are you thinking or are you writing? You could show me like this. Are you thinking or are you writing? Did you already write? What'd you say?
I just wrote it already.
Okay, you're writing.
Yeah.
No, I can't find you. We have about 15 more seconds. Ooh, Frangelis. I'm giving you my Zoom points. Salwa. Okay. It beeped in my ear, but it didn't beep in yours. But I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Who did I unmute? Melvin. Do I have a brave volunteer who wants to tell me about their experience with love? Maybe go into a different, if you don't want to be here with your parents.
Nora
It doesn't
raised her
have to
hand.
be about, an Eric Fosnot kind of love. Maybe you just are talking about a friendship love. Haja, start us off. Let's hear it.
My experiences with love was when I was in pre-K.
Pre-K, okay.
I had a crush on a boy. But then he left the school.
Okay, so how is it similar or different to Esme's understanding of love? Do you feel like it was, did you feel similar
I'm not done
to
with my
Esme?
story yet.
Okay.
And then I tried to I put a smile and I let it go in the end, but never him.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, Haja.
I said that I was mad just like Esme, and I was screaming like her.
Okay. Somebody else?
Nora had her hand raised.
Nora? Nora? Go for it, Nora.
Yeah. Okay, so my thoughts from Esme's thoughts are different because Esme has a very dramatic thinking from her crush, and then like she's just very dramatic and thinks of scenes. But it's different to mine because when I think of that, I think of couple goals and TikTok mostly, and so but some similarities is that we both think about it, like imagine it.
Okay, no, that's true. I like that idea. I think that Giselle, go ahead. Giselle really wants to say something.
Hi. Yeah. So my life is similar to Esme's because I don't know if them three are here, but like Kaylin, Cece, Scarlett, and me have a really
Don't throw anybody under the bus now. Don't spill anybody else's tea. What are you doing? Okay. Okay, go.
So Cece, Scarlett, Kaylin, and me have a very close friendship because we are all crackheads and we all make each other laugh.
So let's not say stuff like that. Okay.
And then
I don't know where you're going with this, Giselle. And so the discussion prompt was to compare and contrast with Esme, but I don't see you pulling out evidence from the text. I see that you're just telling a story. Okay, but you heard me read it, and you heard our explanation of it.
Okay, so I forgot what the text was.
So, but like you can paraphrase.
So I think that what I remember was that when Esme was super mad at Eric, she couldn't stand him, like she wasn't talking to him. And that's kind of similar to my life because sometimes when me and my friends are mad at each other, we don't talk to each other.
Okay. Last thought, Melvin.
I just wanted to say that Esme's experience with love is that like when she was like a little bit down down her age, she saw like love was romantic, but then as she grew up, she realized it was just like dramatic.
Is that true? As she grew, she realized it was like? Are you saying that she realized she was being dramatic?
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Right. Yeah. So we're seeing that like with her sense of reflection, that she realized that her idea of love before was that it needs to be really dramatic and that she needs to like win somebody over, and it's just like really over the top and confusing. But she realized now with her reflection, we're seeing that she is like, oh, it's not actually as dramatic as it seems. And she didn't even tell, and I feel like I can, if I'm comparing and contrasting, my understanding is she didn't even tell Eric that she loved him. She just like whispered it into the wind and then got really mad when he didn't hear her. And I feel like when I was younger, I would do something like that too, where I'd be like, not tell somebody, but then be really angry when they don't know. Daniel Mensa, very quickly, and then we're going to move on to discussion prompt number 2.
Okay, so what I would like to say is that I have an inference. So my inference is that when she grew up or matured, that she finally came to add on to Melvin, like she finally came to like an understanding of knowing what she is doing and like how it was like kind of wrong.
Yeah, and like instead of realizing she maybe needed to win somebody over and that she needed to be so dramatic, that like that love isn't actually this dramatic and this angry as she was making it seem. We're going to go ahead and take a look at our last discussion prompt. So we're going to put ourselves in Esme's shoes, and it's comparing and contrasting how Esme reacted. Sorry, let me see if I can do this. I can't, like this. Comparing and contrasting how Esme's feelings, like how she reacted to Eric and Jose not liking her, and compare and contrast those to your feelings if you were put in that same situation. So if you had done the same thing to try and get Eric Fosnot and then, or somebody, and then you didn't, how would you react? So I'm going to give us 2 minutes to either jot down in our notebooks or think about an answer. I'm going to put this discussion prompt up. I see that Nashla's jotting down. Gabby has her pencil to paper. So does Jasmine and Salwa again. Brian's jotting down. So is Simon. Zainab has her pencil to paper. Who is this? Cece, you need to make sure that Cece, can you hear me? I don't think she can hear me. Cece, you need to make sure that you're jotting or you're thinking. You need to make sure you're sitting. Go sit down. About 1 more minute. Ronnie, you need to actually be writing, not pretend writing. About 40 more seconds. Nora has her pencil to paper. Enrique is ready. Daniel Mensa. Haj's hands are folded, so are Melvin's. Y'all, why don't you act like this in the building? It's crazy. Okay, I'm gonna stop screen sharing. Okay, I'm gonna take a couple of comments. How would you react? Do you think that you would feel the same way? Do you think you'd feel differently? I'm seeing similar hands. Simon, what do you think?
I think that if this would happen, I would react in a more like Like we know in the text she was very annoyed and she was very mad about the way that it turned out. But if I was put in this situation, I would react kind of differently.
In what way?
And like I'll try to get their attention in a different sort of way instead of being more mad.
Okay, got you. Let's get one more. Justin, go ahead. No, Justin, I'm gonna call on you anyway. Go ahead.
But I don't want to talk.
Okay, so Justin, you have 10 seconds.
I'm good.
Okay, so Justin, then it's a phone call home. Who's his advisor? Mr. Lee. I can call Justin's parents during our break.
Okay.
Janelle, go ahead.
If I was put into Esme's perspective, it will be very hard and similar too, because we would have to make a sacrifice, make us hard to own up our feelings to somebody.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'm gonna stop us here because we're running a little bit low on time. So good work today. I know that it's challenging to do discussion prompts when we aren't able to discuss with our partners, but I think we did really, really well today for the most part. Moving forward, if you have a notebook or if you have blank paper, please make sure that you have it with you along with the other reading materials that you might have. If you do not have one, please, not right now, please contact me later and I'm going to see if I can find a way to get you those materials. I'm not assigning homework because I know that not all of us have those reading materials. So with that being said, we're going to move on to number stories. So I want you to take your number stories out.
We're doing breakout groups for number stories, or?
When you have your
Stop recording.
Oh, yep. Thank you.